The View have become so toxic, so unlikable and full of bile that even the woke warriors at ABC and parent company Disney are telling them to tone down their political commentary, to just rethink the constant anti-Trump hate and hysteria, to perhaps, I don't know, stick to the facts so they don't have to issue so many corrections and apologies. But sadly, these ladies will not be told. They are going to keep up the lies and hate. Here is Whoopi Goldberg lying about Donald Trump again, firstly claiming Memorial Day was the first time Trump has said anything positive about Gold Star families.
It was about time we heard him give the Gold Star families their due. It was about time he did that, because he spoke and said, we are proud of our Gold Star families. This is the first time, at least maybe, unless you've heard him do it.
No, he's hosted them at the White House in his first term.
Right, but the last time we collectively heard him talking about Gold Star families, it was not positive.
It was only last September when these hysterical harpies were criticising Donald Trump for visiting Arlington National Cemetery with Gold Star families. The left said that was politicising Arlington. And let's not forget the Gold Star families that endorsed Donald Trump at the Republican National Convention. But that's apparently the first time he has mentioned them or said anything positive, according to Whoopi. Now let's hear from Misery Guts Joy Behar, who wonders why the Commander-in-Chief is even speaking at West Point. Then she claims that Donald Trump is walking into walls.
So why would they invite him to speak at West Point? And wearing the hat was a political move also. That shows you that
the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed
Forces. The hat is politics. It's not about anything but that. So he's supposed to be not political at West Point or Arlington Cemetery, and there he is being political and rambling. Jake Tapper needs to do another book because he was rambling. He's running around. I see pictures of him walking into walls.
And if you think she is miserable and delusional, let's hear from Anna Navarro, who is only happy when she's out of the country and away from Trump. You know what, Anna? You can always stay out. Perhaps you could join Rosie in Ireland.
I was out of the country, and for 5 blissful days, I didn't hear his voice. I had no cell service, and I had no TV. But then I come in, and I watch a clip like this one, up to your point of what you were just talking. Can we see the clip?
Yeah.
As a linguist, translator, and cryptologic technician.
Right. I mean, if Joe Biden said that, right, we'd be talking about his cognitive skills and cognitive decline for days. But
why does the media avoid it with him? Tell me.
Yes, Donald Trump mispronouncing one difficult word means he's Joe Biden now, who routinely spoke incoherent sentences, who struggled to deliver the simplest lines of an auto cue. These ladies are really clutching at straws, and this is after they've been told to dial back their lefty lunacy. Now, Whoopi not only had a go at Donald Trump, defamed Donald Trump, she also attacked J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth, men who risk their lives serving their country.
Pete Hegseth knows better. He knows what it's like to be a service person. Vice President Vance knows. He knows how hard it was, because I'm sure one of the reasons he went there is to elevate his life. He comes from very, very poor people. And the fact that you don't stand up and say, you can't do this to these folks. I've worked with them. I know what they go through. Instead, we get this kind of...
She was so enraged, she couldn't even finish that sentence. You know, the way these hysterical harpies are carrying on, you think there was a crisis in the military. Instead, the opposite is true. Morale is finally high after years of degradation. And the evidence of that is in the recruitment numbers, which have surged to new highs. They surged to record numbers after Donald Trump's election triumph back in November and have stayed high ever since. But facts and figures are abhorrent to the ladies of The View. Let's end our little View catch-up with Joy Behar, who left her phone on during filming, so very professional there, Joy. And listen to her say that she would rather die than be saved by a Trump supporter.
I wouldn't even let him give me a Heimlich maneuver. That's how little I feel about people. I don't know.
Well, and a MAGA supporter is like
calling you right now.
I got it.
Somebody's...
I fixed it.
let's go to Disney. There's reports that Disney and ABC bosses have urged the ladies of The View to just scale back some of their political commentary, perhaps tone down their anti-Trump diatribes, which can get a little bit demented. It's not gone well. Whoopi and co cannot bring themselves to even admit that there may be a problem or two in South Africa. Have a listen to this.
I made movies in South Africa. I've been in South Africa. I sent your son
to South Africa,
to talk to people that I know who still live there. There's no white genocide, okay? There's not a genocide happening.
Douglas, I would love to see you on The View, but what's your response there to the ladies? Because Whoopi's made movies in South Africa, so everything's fine there.
Yes, absolutely. She must have really got a feel for the place on the movie set, I'm sure. It's such an example, actually, of what we were just discussing about this. I'm like, why can't they accept that the situation for many white South Africans is absolutely dire, particularly in farming communities? Why can't they accept that that might be the case and it's not a zero-sum game? I can see what they're doing. This is the classic anti-Trump movement thing. If Trump says something, you can never concede he might be onto something. You've got to say he's onto absolutely nothing and laugh off any issue he raises, including really serious ones. You know, people like the presenters on The View can say things like, well, why isn't he focusing on genocides elsewhere? Why isn't he focusing on X human rights abuse? Why human rights abuse? Look, and there are two things about this. One is, again, this is not a zero-sum game. Because many black South Africans get murdered in South Africa, mainly by other black South Africans, does not mean that no white South African suffers as well. And as for the sort of thing of prioritizing, I'd say that, you know, there's a very obvious answer that the Trump administration can give to this, which is there are many countries in the world that prioritize all sorts of human rights concerns, but very few that have even noticed the human rights violations against white South African farmers. And so, yes, if nobody else is mentioning it, if it's not the cool thing, the cool genocide for the View women to do, then nevertheless, it's perhaps even more so. It's something worth highlighting.
I just don't understand this complete hostility to granting asylum to a few dozen Afrikaners, South African farmers, who are going to assimilate well into any Western country, who speak English, who work hard, who are generally very law-abiding, Douglas. Why are people who are so pro-migrant, pro-open borders hostile to this? Is it purely a skin colour issue?
You know, I think it's very largely that. And there's another underlying thing about this story, which I'm sure, like me, Rita, you can't help but notice. It's something along the lines of, it happens with many examples of hypocrisy like this, which is it's not happening. It might be happening, but even if it were happening, it's not as bad as this other thing that's happening. And then the move to, okay, maybe it is happening, but they kind of deserve it in some way. I think that is underlying a lot of the coverage of this story. Yeah. And generally speaking, if a group is being murdered or is being targeted for annihilation, the idea that you excuse it by saying that underneath all of this, they're guilty by dint of their skin color, of something that happened a generation ago now, 2 generations ago, would ordinarily be regarded as morally obscene. So why isn't it here?
Well, collective guilt seems to be in fashion right now.
Disney and ABC bosses have urged our friends at The View to tone down their political commentary and some of their anti-Trump diatribes. Now, I'm going to miss this, frankly, Alex, if they tone it down, because playing clips from The View is one of my favorite things to do on this program. But do you think that these execs will be able to tame the likes of Whoopi Goldberg and company?
Well, they better not, because that's the only way that they ever go viral is when Whoopi Goldberg says something idiotic about Donald Trump. So they need to encourage them to speak badly about Donald Trump. That's the only way that people will watch their show. So, the fact that they're scared, good, because now that now the rabbit's got the gun and they need to be a little worried that Donald Trump is in office. So I'm happy. But I don't, like you said, I share a lot of Whoopi Goldberg clips too. I hope she doesn't stop saying stupid stuff, because I need the content and I enjoy watching the content.
It is so much fun getting a look inside the deranged mind of Whoopi Goldberg. Alex Stein, thank you so much.
Joining us now is Brent Buchanan, GOP pollster and messaging strategist. Brent, great to see you. I want to get into the latest polling with you in a moment, but first of all, can I get your reaction to how the hosts of The View have covered the Macron slap? I mean, if it was Donald Trump and Melania, I'm sure we'd get a pretty different perspective.
I think I was the third person today to watch The View after you sent me the link to their Twitter post. But I can tell you, normal Americans do not respond to watching The View. And honestly, I was a bit shocked in the fact that they really didn't go after defending Macron's wife very hard.
Okay, look, it comes after reports that Disney CEO Bob Iger asked the co-hosts of The View to turn down their heated political rhetoric, aka their anti-Trump rhetoric. And in case you're not familiar with just how far these hosts go, here's a reminder.
Take him seriously and take him literally.
I don't think that we have to. I think it would be remiss of us to not say Joe Biden knows how to do this. Yes, he knows how to do this. He's quite good at this, and you can't refute anything with him, because he just, when I say him, I mean
he rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just.
But can I mention one thing?
Spitting while speaking about the president, that is what you get when you watch Whoopi Goldberg. So Disney sources told the Daily Beast that both Disney and the ABC News president recently suggested that the talk show hosts be less antagonistic on political issues. Brent, is this actually going to help The View? Or really, when you look at their coverage time and time again, should they just be cancelled at this point?
Well, if you're speaking to highly educated white women with no children or no children at home who have nothing to do except watch The View, and that really is the new base of the Democratic Party, then maybe The View actually has a place. But when you look at the broad spectrum of what Americans want, is they want to be more in the center or actually not political at all. And so this call to The View is really a reaction to the 2024 election, which basically stopped the swing of the political pendulum. And so what happened with Obama's election in 2008 is that after he got elected, he said, let me take this pendulum and swing it as far to the left as possible. And what's going to happen to the pendulum? It's going to swing to the right equally. And that's how we got Donald Trump. And so when Joe Biden came in, he said, well, Obama didn't go far enough. Let me pull that pendulum even further. And then it swung further to the right with Donald Trump 2.0. And now you have these TV shows like The View and Disney and others who are looking at their base, their subscriber base, their viewership, and seeing it plummeting and realizing that they have pulled the pendulum way too far to the left.